Okay, so in this lesson we're going to do the functionality that we've been working on for the past few lessons, where we want to add extra dice based off of the number that we have in the window that we put into the input field. So we're going to need to do a while loop, and with the while loop we'll need a few more variables. And what the while loop does is that you set a condition and it says that it's going to repeat a set of code over and over and over again until a specific condition is met. So let's start off with the while loop, and then we'll look at what we actually need to add as variables. So the way we'll do a while loop is write while, and then we have to give it a condition. So I'm just going to give a value name of x. It doesn't mean anything other than it is a variable x right now. So if x is less than or equal to the number of dice, then we will do the following code. So that means that we need a variable x, and let's make it equal to 1 to begin with. And then we can look at what we actually want inside of this while loop. So we want to be able to randomize the die. So yes, we want to spit out the value and write it out. Yes. And then do we want to rotate it? Yes. Or we output the die value? Yes. So let's put this in here. This is where the problem will start a little bit, because right now we have it set up to do this, give us a value here, and then put it into this function. But since we're going to be repeating it over and over again, it's going to spit out a lot of values, and we don't know how many, and then we don't know how many to set here. So we're going to do this a little bit different for this version of this script. We're going to get rid of this. And since we've gotten rid of this, we don't need this variable here. So we just need to run the roll die function. And then inside of the roll die function, instead of returning the value, we can say rotate die, and we're going to put the die value here. So each time this loop happens, it's actually going to run the next function that's rotate die. And we are giving it a dice value, which makes sure that the dice is rotated in the correct direction. Okay, so we are most of the way there. We need to add another little bit of functionality here. So we have it running right now where it does generate a random value, and it rotates the number of die that we need based off of the rotation value. But what we don't have is a way to duplicate the die over and over each time. So we want to duplicate the die, but we don't want to do it the very first time, because if not, then we'll have 2 when we have the number 1. So we can fix that by doing a quick if statement. So we can say if x is, let's put this in parentheses, x is greater than 1, then we can do whatever is inside of the if statement. And in this case, we want to do mc.duplicate d6. So each time the value is greater than 1, we're going to duplicate the die 6. Only problem is now that this duplication is going to happen right on top of each other. So we're going to have to move the die over and over again. And that's going to be done similar to the way that we did the rotations. We're going to do a set adder, give the attribute name, and then the value that we want to change. An easy way to do this is to set a variable. So let's call it move x, and we'll start it off at 0 because the x value is going to be set to 0 to begin with. So let's say move, once we want to move it, x is equal to move x plus 2. So that way, not 200, 2. So that way when we go through here, it moves the box, or it sets the variable 2 more than it was before. Then what do we want to do with this? We want to be able to do mc.set adder and give it a value. It's going to be d6.tx. So that's the attribute name that we want. We want to change to translate x. And what do we want to change it to? We want to change it to move x. So I believe we got everything we need to get this to work. There's going to be one more issue, and I'll show you once we run this, and we'll fix that part on the following lesson. But let's test this script here. So it runs. We can give it a value. So let's start off with doing 1. It says numDice is not defined. I think I might have used the wrong variable here. Instead of numDice, it's num of dice, because we got that there. Let's try that one more time. Uh-oh. Okay, so this is something that you have to be careful with when you do a script, and that's part of why we have it set up inside of Notepad. I ended up creating an endless loop, so you can see that it's looping over and over here. And when it is looping over and over here, it's never stopping because I did something wrong, obviously. So let's check out what that is, but you'll see that I can't actually do anything with Maya. So I'm going to have to force quit out of Maya. So we're going to end that. And then I'm going to have to open up Maya again. So now that I have Maya, let's open up the file. Save changes. Okay, so now I have that going there. So x equals 1. Okay, this is what's happening. So in the loop, we're never increasing the x value more than what it is to start off with. So we need to tell it that we want it to increase x. So we're going to say x equals x plus 1. And what that's going to do is increase x each time, so that way we can keep track to make sure that x is going to increase with each loop. Oops. Test this one more time. So let's try it with the value of 1. Excellent, that worked. We can do that over and over. Let's go to a value of 10. And yes, it did create 10 die. Now here's where the problem comes. If we want to go back to 1, you'll see that it is not getting rid of all these dice, and it's only working on this one die here. If I were to go back in and add 5, you'll see that it's still creating them right on top of each other. So in the next lesson, we're going to go about resetting this tool each time we click the button. We'll see you then.